Salaam and The Question. The ticking in my inescapable internal universal time bomb has both accelerated and gotten far louder lately, a fact I find disturbing both existentially as well as from a practical perspective. In the cycle of birth, growth, maturity, slow decline, aging to aged, I am perched on the precipice between the fifth and sixth stage, and I find myself able to do less and less physically and mentally. While my bicycling fountain of youth has not yet run dry, it has transitioned from a flowing, life-affirming stream to a mere trickle that meanders down a rocky slope. I realize now that I am a victim of subjective reality, that my 40 years both working in bike shops and participating in races that were run and bicycle, swim, cycle, and run, along with obstacle course races, exposed me to a lot of superhuman folk who continue to be able to compete in races into their 80s, while little old me threw in the racing towel about the same time I reached 60 years. To add insult to injury, my darling superwoman wife Durga continues to run and do shorter running races where she consistently places in the top 3 of her age group. Am I blessed to have Durga? 100%. Is it easy being an aging mortal married to a goddess? No. I discovered cycling back in 1980, the same year I started dating Durga. Durga has always been a far better athlete than me. For 40 years when we went running or cycling, I was able to go farther and faster than she. Though I was faster, if we were comparing race results, she was likely to place higher in her age group than I was, perhaps winning her age group while I might take a lower spot on the age group podium. Since 1980, I cycled over 225,000 miles, 360,000 kilometers, mostly by commuting to and from work. Beginning in 2025, I stopped riding to work because I retired. I kept riding, but without all those commuting miles, hitting 5,000 miles per year became harder. My solution was to go ride 15 miles every day. If I missed a day, no sweat, because my 15 miles per day routine gave me 31 days off per year. It worked until it didn't. Recently, I find cycling 15 miles every day daunting. I get tired. I get sore. I decided to try 2 8-mile rides on some days and 15 on others. Good math, but my delivery of that second 8-miler has been haphazard, all of which is prelude to Salaam and The Question. Way back in 1986, when Durga and I married, I met her childhood friend, Tim H. Durga and I had just married and moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and Tim was flying out of Atlanta to Morocco for his stint in the Peace Corps. We met. Tim was pleasant, but I had no idea at the time how much Tim's path and ours would intersect. Tim was my wife's friend, not mine, so it was through Durga that I learned that Tim had met the woman of his dreams while in the Peace Corps, and that he and Zara had married. I was happy for him, but I had no idea what fate had in store for us. As I said earlier, Durga and I moved to Atlanta in 1986. We also moved to Indianapolis, Indiana 10 years later, and then to Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 1998. We moved into a Cedar Rapids apartment while waiting for our house to be completed, and then into our third house a mile or so north of Boyson Street. Tim, Zara, their daughter, and their son Munir moved into our same housing development and wound up less than half a mile away from us. Munir and our younger son Patrick became fast friends, and we spent a lot of time together. With the passing of years, Tim had converted to Islam, his wife's religion, and a religion with which I had some familiarity from a course on medieval history I take back in 1979, plus a mosque having been built a mile from my parents' home north of D.C. after I'd flown the nest with my darling. One year, Tim asked us if we'd like to join him and his family for Eid, the end of Ramadan feast. We said yes and went to the Mother Mosque in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the oldest mosque in North America, for the meal. When Tim explained that the Mother Mosque is the oldest in North America, 13-year-old Munir chimed in, "That's because all the earlier ones were destroyed. We know that African-American Muslims who were enslaved built impromptu mosques, but they were all destroyed." Turning to Munir, I said, "That makes a lot of sense and is horrid. But FYI, that's a real downer to tell us right now," delivering my response with a wink and a smile. Having learned that the Mother Mosque is the oldest in North America and then moving from Cedar Rapids to Tampa, Florida in 2015, I began asking my Muslim acquaintances and strangers I would meet where the oldest mosque in North America is, a question I have asked easily 100 times and never received a correct answer. A common guess is Deerfield, Michigan, which does have a higher percentage of Muslims than most U.S. cities, but completely ignores the fact that that is a relatively new phenomenon, at least as compared to the Mother Mosque dedication date of 1934. Additionally, Highland Park, Michigan had a mosque built back in 1921. That mosque closed very soon thereafter due to it being a poor location for worship. FYI, Hamtramck, Michigan has the highest density of Muslims at nearly 70% of the population. If you're starting to wonder if this little essay is an example of the aforementioned decline in my mental capacities, here's where I square the circle. I live near Apex Park, a lovely park that has a 2-mile paved trail around a lake. Most days I incorporate half a lap around the lake into my ride, but on 3:30 I decided to circle the lake twice and then head home rather than follow my usual route. The trail is open to bicycles, but the overwhelming majority of folks who frequent the park walk the trail. And though my cycling speed is slow, when cycling, I pass runners. They don't pass me. In addition to being proper etiquette, calling out on your left or passing left is a park requirement. And as I ride along, I call out in my loud bass actor voice, I'm coming up on your left side. My shy 9-year-old grandma once said, Pocky talks to everyone, a sentiment that has merit, but is, of course, an exaggeration. I do not talk to everyone, but I do engage in conversation with strangers at a rate far exceeding the norm, and on the first loop of my 3:30 ride, I came across half a dozen females walking towards me who were wearing headscarves, and as I approached them, I raised my hand and shout, Salaam! Said greeting eliciting a chorus of similar responses. As I do my first lap, I call out to everyone before passing them, but as I ride, I wonder if this group of Muslim women would know the answer to the question of where the oldest mosque in North America is located. A short way into my second lap, I see the women sitting on a bench, and I slow to a crawl and say, You're who I said hello to, correct? Yes, some of the girls respond, and it penetrates my thick head that the women can't be more than 16 years old. Daunted but bullheaded, I stop and start on my bike and say, May I ask you a friendly question? Said question receiving multiple invitations to do so. Maintaining my distance, I ask, You're Muslims, correct? Pronouncing the word Muslims rather than Muslims. Receiving multiple head nods and smiles, I then say, Here's the actual question. Can anyone tell me where the oldest mosque in North America is located? Everyone responds that they do not, so I invite them to guess, and I receive the normal incorrect answers and then tell them the oldest mosque in North America is the Mother Mosque in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I enjoyed Eid there with friends of mine many years ago. I then added Monir's information along with, Trust a 13-year-old boy to stomp on a happy story. I thanked them, I wished them a happy Eid, and finished my 16-mile bicycle ride feeling good. Not knowing if it was because of my short break that I felt better than usual of late, or if it was due to shared camaraderie with strangers who welcomed a short visit by a crazy old man.